Hi guys, Claritha here from Jade Path Acupuncture. A lot of my patients ask me in clinic how I got to be a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So this is what this post is about. So I come from a big family of healthcare practitioners. My dad is a doctor in the Navy and has been for 30 years. My mom is an occupational therapist. My grandfather was a doctor, and I have two uncles who are dentists. So needless to say, the healthcare vibe in my house was very strong growing up. And that being said, I kind of shirked the usual and I went to art school. I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in visual communications with a double major in graphic design and fine art. I'm a visual person, I'm a visual learner. I have always wanted things to be aesthetically pleasing in order for people to have that feeling of comfort. And that's something that I've always enjoyed creating. So you can imagine how quickly my disenchantment happened when I got out into the real world and I started working in an office. I hated it. It was not a good fit for me. So for the span of about 6 years, I kind of bounced in between jobs in what I call the meantime jobs, meaning those are the things that I was doing in the meantime while I figured out what I really wanted to do. And I went back to waiting tables, which a lot of people do that. And if they love it, great. I hated it. It was not my jam. And I also ended up doing residential real estate for about 5 years. Also did not like that. Um, During that stint, I did find a lovely cafe in Chicago called Earth Mothers, run by the lovely Chris and Patty Garland. And it was an organic cafe with an Ayurvedic twist. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Ayurveda, it is a Eastern holistic system of medicine that um, uses herbs and diet, among other practices, to help achieve balance to the body. And they had some books there that they were generous enough to offer me to let me check out and read. And I thought, there's really something to this mind body approach that really struck a chord with me. And shortly after, I started to compile a list of careers that acknowledged the mind body connection. And it was during this time that I got wind of a friend who was going to school for acupuncture. And I thought, that was not even on my radar. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So I asked her out to lunch. And that lunch changed the trajectory of my life. I was enamored with everything that she was telling me. I was really ecstatic and wanted to find out more about Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM as it's sometimes called, that there was a system that treated the whole person as an individual, and that there was like a physical healing that you could do to the body, like acupuncture. But the system of medicine also took into consideration that there was an emotional aspect to a person and a spiritual aspect to a person, and that those things could be recognized as causes of disease. I mean, pretty wonderful. And herbal medicine, I mean, get out of town. I love herbs. I loved herbs. I love learning herbs. And I mean, what a gift from the earth that we have access to help alleviate all sorts of chronic and acute conditions. Um, so what I got from this was that this medicine looks at the body from like a macrocosm, but also a microcosm. And there's the yin and the yang and the interplay of nature and how that affects us externally and internally. And it's such a beautiful and poetic medicine. And it's a combination of art and science. And I love art and I love science, and that was always something that I was pulled to growing up. both sides. And I felt like this just kind of merged it. And that really got me. And up until that point, I had never had an acupuncture treatment before. But I went in, I sat in on a couple classes, and I signed up to start taking classes the very next semester. Quit my job, and the rest is history. So I feel really honored to be able to practice a medicine that is so compassionate to help other human beings and to help them heal so they can get on with doing what they're supposed to do. So that's my story. Thanks for listening.